Hey guys, this is Chef. We had ourselves a little snafu. I started the demo, and after the fact, realized that it wasn't recording. So I'm just gonna have to kind of piece this together, so you can see, because most of it is kind of already done. First, of course, we had to mince some garlic, and you guys know how to mince garlic, so we really don't need to do that. Second, I took some softened butter and I buttered the inside of this pan. I took the potatoes out because I already had them in here, and that's when I realized that I was recording. My milk and my cream I've heated. It's already come to a boil. So really, I guess I just need to kind of recap the potatoes. Initially I said a box grater, and certainly I will tell you a box grater will work nicely. You just kind of run the potatoes down your box grater. I have found, though, that my box grater, just because of its age, isn't working real well. So I'm going to choose to do it with a knife. And actually, it's not a bad way to do it. So when you're doing it, you just use your opposite hand to guide the knife, place it down, and go down and forward. Down and forward. The thinner, the better. Down and forward. Down and forward. Down and forward. Okay? And you want to try to find a slice that's like a kettle chip, not the thin potato chips, but more of the thicker potato chips. So, somewhere about an eighth to a 16th of an inch. However, if your box grater works nicely, go ahead and use the box grater. That's how you'll need to kind of approach this. Is you can do it by hand, and Ian did it on Friday. And Ian do a test, and he cut his by hand, and they really came out nicely. So, you can do it by hand. Just rest your knife on top, down and forward. Rest your knife on top, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward. Okay, that's really what you need to do. If you're having a hard time with it kind of rolling around, cut a little flat edge right there so that it'll lay a little flatter for you. Down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward. Okay, just like that, all the way till you get to the end. You'll have to just do it until your comfort. I left a little bit of mine because I just want to be careful not to cut myself. So after slicing the potatoes, you're going to place them into a bowl of some sort. Okay, I just don't need those potatoes. So you want to place the potatoes into a bowl, and I have seasoned these potatoes with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, my minced garlic that the recipe calls for, and I added some thyme sprigs. Okay, each of you got a little bit of fresh thyme in a small little bag. The thyme, looks just like that, and it's got these tiny little leaves on it. To get the thyme off, just isolate, some leaves, and then just run your fingers going across backwards. Okay, and the leaves will come right off. After you get the leaves off, okay, just run again. Run your fingers backwards. Run your fingers backwards. If you've got big pieces of stem in there, just remove them. But if you've got some little tender pieces of stem in there, don't worry about it, okay? They will get nice and soft. So, about a teaspoon's worth is what you need. I had a pile that was about 1.5 times that size, and then I just took my chef's knife and I just kind of rough chopped it. Just gave it a little rough chop, and then I just took it and I added it to my potatoes. Okay, I already have some in there, but I can add just a little more. So add those to your potatoes. Your garlic, your minced garlic is in here, your chopped thyme, some salt, a little pepper, and then just use your hands to kind of just mix everything up. and pull apart those potato pieces, okay, so that they're not all kind of stuck to each other, just like this. Okay. Just like that. Now I've seasoned these with a little salt, a little pepper, so I do want to take and test to see how much salt and pepper is in there. Because potatoes are just one of those vegetables that you need to make sure that there's, you know, a sufficient amount of salt and pepper in there, because they just won't taste good. They'll taste very bland. It's like a unsalted potato chip. So I think it's pretty good. I might add a little bit of salt and pepper to my cream mixture, but I think that's pretty good. You guys also got a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese in a little cup. Add about half that amount to your potatoes. Just about half. All right, and then kind of coat that and get it in there as well. Okay, that's really going to bring out some nice flavor. Okay, there we go. Good. Okay. So now I want to take and start putting my potatoes into my foil pan. And I just want to start shingling them in there. Across the bottom. Remember, we've buttered the inside, just like if you were kind of making a cake. You butter the inside of a cake pan so that the cake doesn't stick. And then just again, see how I'm just kind of laying those in, alternating back and forth, making sure that I get some in the corners. I'm kind of taking the smaller pieces and using those for my edges. There and there. Remember, it's not going to matter that much, you know, as far as the shingling, because when it cooks, it's all going to kind of cook in together and become one. All those potatoes will soften, and you will not know that there are any little gaps or anything of the sort. So I'm just kind of plucking all those potatoes out, laying them across the top. Okay, just like this. If there's any water in the bottom of your bowl, leave that water behind. We don't want that water to be in there. Meaning I don't want that water in my casserole. Okay, there we go. All right, well, that's nice, right like that. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of my bowl. I've got my potatoes in my foil pan. I am going to add a little bit of salt to my milk and cream mixture. Remember, that's 12 ounces of cream and 4 ounces of milk. Pepper was good, so I'm going to leave the pepper. I'm just going to stir that in gently. Okay, just like that. All right, now, just to kind of make it a little easier for cleanup, in case I splatter or splash, move that salt out of the way. Okay, got a clean towel, good. All right, so now I want to take my milk and my cream mixture, and I want to carefully pour it into my loaf pan. And as the directions state, you may not use all of it. I noticed that with Ian's on Friday, he left about, yeah, that same amount that we have right there. It's about 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. Okay, so just kind of positioning those a little bit on the top. There we go. Okay. Let it kind of settle a little. And if I can get a little more in there, I'm going to try to get a little more, which I think I can. Yep. There we go. Okay. That's good. All right. Now, we're going to take the remaining portion of Parmesan cheese and we're going to sprinkle it over the top. Just like that. Okay? Just like that. A little bit more Parmesan on the top. Then we're going to get a little aluminum foil, which I already have right here. Okay? And I'm going to coat the top of it with a little bit of oil, or if you have any leftover butter, that will work as well too. And I'm just going to rub the aluminum foil like we did, well, kind of a similar to the lasagna, where I just want to create a little tent over the top. Just like that. I don't want to seal it super tight. I just want to kind of crimp it around the edge a little bit. Just like that, okay? Now, this is going to go into a preheated 400-degree oven. Definitely put a piece of aluminum foil on top of your sheet tray. So if you have a sheet tray, you want to either, again, have a piece of aluminum foil or a piece of parchment paper over the top. And I've got a little piece of parchment paper that I'm going to put down. So I got my parchment paper. I'm going to take my potatoes, okay, place them in the center, and then place that in a preheated oven. And in the oven it goes. It says in the directions about 7 minutes with the aluminum foil on, and then take off and cook for about another 20. When we did this Friday, we found that it did take a little longer to cook, and we actually left the aluminum foil on for almost the entire time that it was in there. So I strongly suggest that that is what you do. It will take about 45 minutes in the oven. And what we found was if you put it in the oven for about a half an hour with the aluminum foil on and then take the aluminum foil off for the last 15 minutes, you're going to end up with a better product. So that is my strong suggestion, is that you put it in the oven covered on a sheet tray, parchment paper or aluminum underneath, because it will kind of bubble over a little bit. Middle shelf, okay, and 45 minutes at 400 degrees. And that's for a regular conventional oven. If you're using a convection oven, it'll probably take about 10 minutes less time than that in a conventional oven, type of oven that has a fan. So we're going to have those in the oven, like I said, about 45 minutes. We'll pull them out. We'll test them with a fork or a knife. We want to see a fork or a knife insert into the center very easily with no resistance, right down to the bottom. And that'll tell us that it's done. Then we want them to cool before they get served with our chicken. Now, I don't mean cool to be cold, but so that it's not piping hot. You want it to definitely rest a little bit. If you have a little more cream left over, milk and cream mixture, don't throw it away, save it. We found that when we did our recipe as well too, when we took it out and we uncovered it from the aluminum foil, we were able to pour the rest of that milk and cream mixture on top, and then we were put it back in the oven, or we put it back in the oven and cooked it for that remaining 15 minutes or so. Okay, that way it didn't go to waste. So I'm going to get cleaned up, and then we're going to start to do our prep for our vegetables, which will include blanching and cutting of the carrots.